I love that.
I love
that.
We're doing a second episode.
We're doing a second episode. It's unbelievable.
I can't believe it, because I was under the impression we were doing just one episode and then we were never doing a podcast ever again.
No, we have to do it all over again.
I thought I was just one and done. And I wouldn't have to come back.
It's going to be a regular thing. So, everyone, welcome back to the second episode of The Stir here in Livingston County, Michigan, featuring myself, your host, Kasey Helton, and my co-hosts, Jace Arledge and Ella Nikitin, where we are here to bring you all the local tea on issues that are affecting your community right here in Livingston County, plus keen observations, analysis, and, as always,
Good vibes.
Good vibes.
Good vibes.
Because we're all about that too. So today on The Stir, we don't have a guest today. We're going to be breaking down a pretty big conversation about an issue that has been affecting a few local school districts here in the county, specifically Fowlerville and Hartland.
Yeah.
Ella graduated from Hartland High School, so she's connected there.
Yes.
And Jace is a bus driver in Fowlerville, so there's a connection there. And I'm just kind of here to help facilitate this conversation and keep it rolling. But we want to talk about these content-neutral display policies that were recently adopted back over the summer. And those policies banned pride flags in both those school districts, among other things. And we want to talk about that, and we want to talk about what happened after that. So, but first, we're just going to do a little bit of a introduction of sorts, how everybody's week went, what's new, what's going on?
How'd your guys' week go? What'd you do, Ella?
How'd your week go, Ella?
Well, I guess I can talk about what I did. So, last night I was actually reverse engineering the music routines from a Nintendo game.
Which Nintendo game?
It's a game that was only, or at least the Nintendo version of this game was only released in Europe. It's called Elite.
Elite?
It is the only Nintendo game that features actual 3D graphics.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah. Do you have to, what is that, do you have to put special glasses on?
No. What I mean, 3D rendering, every game has that nowadays, but, a Nintendo wasn't powerful enough. And here's the thing. The Nintendo is not powerful enough to run this game. Right. But it does it anyways, and the way it does that is by running the game at a really slow frame rate.
Okay.
And to do that, it does some memory tricks, so it can display one image and draw a different image while still displaying the previous one, and then when it's ready, it switches them around.
Oh my goodness. I don't know how your brain does this. I can't even program my phone.
Yeah.
And here's Ella, modifying games, making games, that there's
right.
there's a meld there between creativity and computer science. I'm so glad to have you.
Yeah, this is just it's like this.
I say that, I know, mind blown. I play, I do like to play video games, although occasionally I haven't really had much time to do that.
That's where we're different. You see, I don't play video games that much.
Yeah, you're just a designer.
She just likes to design and redesign and modify. That's cool. That right there, man.
I know, because there's so much work that goes into game design. I have a PS5, and I like to play story mode games like Assassin's Creed. I love the whole Assassin's Creed series. My favorite game that's ever been made before is Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a Rockstar game. It's a Western. You get your own horse, but I won't spoil it. I won't spoil what happens. But you get horse. You're a cowboy.
Okay.
You play this cowboy named Arthur, and you go through this whole saga. And Arthur starts out as a bandit, and he has this whole arc to his existence. But you get to decide whether he's good or bad throughout the whole game by the decisions you make. I know there's people out there who have played Red Dead, who know what I'm talking about, and then there's other people who are probably I have no idea what she's talking about. But if you ever do decide to take up gaming, play, it's like a novel, Red Dead Redemption 2. And then there's also The Last of Us. That's another favorite game of mine. I play, there's that story came out on HBO or was it? I think it was it like HBO Max, where they did The Last of Us, which was like a huge series that came out on HBO. That was based on that game.
Oh, really?
And the game is amazing. It's about like these zombie plant people. So, but the game is incredible. So I too like games myself. So I appreciate, even though it's kind of coming from a different direction. I don't really do Nintendo, but it's still the same thing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, you saw the game that I showed you last week, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and that was amazing. Like, how much time did that even take?
Well, actually, it took like a few days, actually, because it was like a game jam. You know, you have a limited amount of time to make a game. That's how this works.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll talk gaming with anyone. I'm the world's oldest lady gamer. This niche is hard to find. Like women in their mid-40s who really like to play video games. So if you like games, like, send me a message. I'll talk games with anyone all day long.
Send her some good vibes.
Send me some good vibes for an achievement that you unlocked.
Right. Well, cool. That's excellent. What about you, Kasey? What did you?
Well, you know, really, so much of my time, like, lately, has been focusing on this podcast.
Yeah.
People know me in this community as like someone who tends to keep on top of the news. I have a Twitter, and like I've got a few thousand followers on Twitter, and I like to tweet about local issues. Kasey Helton 05 is my Twitter handle. Well, it's not called Twitter anymore. It's called Elon. Thanks, Elon, ruining it for everyone. But normally, like, I follow news on Twitter, but I haven't even been on my Twitter very much, like hardly at all, because I've been so busy trying to like get this show ready.
Right.
And
because it takes a lot.
It really does, but I'm so glad that it's out and we're finally doing this. And, you know, we're still kind of learning as we go, working on presentation and things like that. But I think so far we've put out something pretty good.
This has been great.
And what about you, Jace? What have you been?
Have you been doing? I do a lot. So
I know you
it's
do.
like, well, you know, I do want to say one thing. I took my wife out to dinner. We don't go out to dinner very often, but I took my wife out to dinner to this Italian restaurant here in Brighton.
Which is?
Arda's.
I've never been there.
That's in Genoa Park.
Okay.
It's right by Woodland Health, or whatever it used to be Woodland Health, right across the street from 242.
Yes. It's
right there.
The other
you can
day.
see it from the road.
Coney Island.
I think so.
Yeah.
That was it was amazing.
I love
it. It was
Italian
amazing.
food.
Well, you know, I'm Italian,
right.
so I love to eat Italian food, and I usually take my wife out to Plymouth to a restaurant out there, La Bistecca, which is a wonderful place. That was one of the first places I took her on a date.
Aww.
And I wanted to do something special this past week, and I took her there, and I'll tell you something, it was a wonderful experience. I really enjoyed it. The atmosphere, the food was just,
really
oh yeah.
And this is called, tell me the name
It's
again.
Arda's, and there's like another part of name after
Arda's right there in Grand River, down by Rollerama. It's in a shopping house. You almost miss it if you don't know it's there.
Yeah, it's by Lepix.
So yeah, if you're craving some Italian food, I love Italian.
Yeah.
My husband, he's half Italian. His mother's second generation Sicilian.
Yeah.
So we are always about
I love
good Italian food in this household.
And it was very good, very good. I enjoyed it. I just
very good. One of these days we'll have to talk to you about how you met Sandy. I'd love to hear that story. We're gonna get deeper into that kind of stuff because I know there's a whole story involved.
There is,
and I want to hear. I want to unlock it because I love a good story. So just another thing for you all, like this is the kind of thing we're gonna also be doing on the story. Is like talking about our lives,
right? And
how our experiences has kind of informed that,
right?
And get to know each other. So looking forward to that. So, on to our segue here. Humongous topic.
Yeah.
Humongous topic. Content neutral policies. They're calling it like a flag policy. I don't think flag policy it's a display policy. Because really, this policy that was adopted in both Hartland and in Fowlerville deal with a lot more than just flags.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, they started out and Ella, you can talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, I can actually put it up on the screen.
Yeah, because Hartland's policy, now these were both adopted, just so you know, these were both adopted within a few in mid-June, within a few weeks of each other. Well, about a month, I think.
About a month.
Yeah, Hartland was adopted in mid-June. Fowlerville was adopted in mid-July.
Yeah.
And really quick before you start talking about it, I'm just going to tell you the votes because I think this is something important before we go any further into this. But the policy passed in Hartland in mid-June. It was 4-3, and there was a tiebreaker vote there with board member Megan Glaybach was the tiebreaker, and that Glaybach. One thing to note about her that there was a lot of teacher opposition to this policy, and Glaybach was endorsed by the Hartland Education Association during her campaign. So she was a union-endorsed candidate, and she kind of went against what teachers really wanted,
right.
And sided with, quote-unquote, the clean slate candidates who ran this campaign earlier this year, Education, Not Indoctrination, right. Gogolewski, Michelle Blondeel, and Greg Keller were the clean slate candidates that ran there, and Glaybach kind of sided with them on this really major issue that affects the entire school,
right.
really.
Right.
And then Fowlerville, just real quick, Ella, before I let you get to the policy here. Fowlerville, only one board member opposed Fowlerville's policy back in mid-July, and that was Diana Dombrowski. The rest of the board voted in favor of it. So overwhelming support there, although it's kind of unclear where the policy came from. So Ella, why don't you talk a little bit about Hartland's policy for us?
Yeah, so let me put the policy up on the screen. So this is the policy that Hartland has. And let me explain a few things. So this part, this part right here was here before. That has always been there.
So the flag, it was just the flag itself.
Originally, there was only restrictions on flags.
Okay.
And that's it. Before the current school board got elected, it was just flags.
And
this
that
will
included
actually
the pride flag as well.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
So you can't hang an actual flag. So you could put a sticker up, but no
gotcha.
Flag.
Okay. All right.
But recently, certain people had a really big problem, and they added this bit right here.
So they expanded the policy to further limit expression, and this they said it wasn't enough to just ban the pride flag, because let's be honest, that's really what happened here. The pride flag was banned. They wanted to say, and you could see it here, it says any media, and that includes signs, posters, flags, stickers, all of that is no longer allowed in the in the Hartland School District at all. And that includes safe space stickers as well. Because Hartland, a lot of teachers in Hartland had little stickers that they would, and we're going to talk about this in a minute, but they had little stickers they put on the inside of their classrooms that were called safe space stickers. And these are stickers, and I think you two both can probably talk about why stickers like that are important, to let kids know that that you're welcome here and that you're going to be accepted no matter who you are or how you identify, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, Jace, do you want to talk a little bit about the Fowlerville policy? What's the difference? Because these policies are very similar, but there are some differences. How does the Fowlerville policy differ from the Hartland policy?
There are. Now, this one is Fowlerville that you've seen on the screen now. If you notice, the difference, pretty much same, current Michigan flag, current school flag, displays used in the classroom as part of a temporary unit of study. But the thing that is different is our policy does not allow, if you notice, it says on here, per the policy, it does not allow the foreign exchange students to have any representation of them, per the policy. Now, I'm not saying, and I want to first of all, for everybody out there, I want to premise this first. Any of my opinions or my thoughts are my own personal. This has nothing to do with the school. This has nothing to do with my job.
And you're a parent. You
and,
have
and
a
I'm
kid
also
who
a
is
parent,
of
and I have
yeah.
a graduate of the high school also. So I'm speaking on behalf of myself, my child, and it's me. This has nothing to do with my job.
Right.
I want that to be made totally clear.
Yeah, I think that's understood.
So I do have some very sadness and disappointment, because what they've done is, to me, they've taken out, if you could see down at the bottom, G, okay? It says displays representing student organizations / clubs. And if you look at that policy, 5840, that talks about any club that is, I'm going to use the word sanctioned by the school, like the chess club, the robotics club, things like that. As long as they are teacher-led, they are able to place it on a 32 square foot bulletin board in each building. Now, it doesn't say where the bulletin board's going to be. Now, is it going to be I don't know. I have not been in the school yet to see where that has been placed. So I don't know. It could be at a far end of the building where not many students go. It could be right up front as you walk in the building. So my whole thing is to me, they're taking out representation of the community of the school.
In fact, so I've been to Fowlerville Library once or twice, the school library, at the high school, and they have a beautiful, as you walk in, it's very noticeable, a mural with a saying. Do you remember what the saying was? It's something about
what it used to say.
Yeah, what did it used to say?
It had something to and this is not verbatim because I don't remember it, but it talked about teaching the children how to be productive in a global society.
Yeah, I remember that. And it was like respect and kindness.
It was focus on every student every day, right?
Yes.
That's what it said.
That's
but
one
the
of
thing
them.
is...
That was one of them.
Yeah, it was
on
a
the
few
other
different
side. But because the new administration, because we have a new superintendent this year and a new assistant superintendent. So they're working on making everything more neutral.
Right. So they're taking that down. Because that's the idea. So that's the idea here. That's the stated purpose, which is a complex and, in my opinion, problematic purpose of neutrality. When you're dealing with around ideas of where you're trying to teach children about ideas about the world. Sometimes a neutral approach is not always most appropriate. Like you're learning about movements in history. You're going to talk about the pro-slavery South, the people who felt slavery was necessary as an institution to keeping the economy going, which there were people who really did believe that. Southern farmers, wealthy Southern farmers, believed that slavery was an intrinsic part of the American economy and that we needed slaves in order to keep that economy running. And then you had in the abolitionist North, people who said slavery is a moral wrong. And it doesn't matter if the economy benefits from it. It's wrong to put people and make them slaves, steal their labor and take over their lives and sell their children and rape their wives. That's wrong. So when you're learning about issues, movements, ideological positions, where does the idea of neutrality fit into that? You kind of have to wonder. Are we gonna teach kids to take a neutral approach to that? Like, you decide for yourselves.
You said that they painted over the focus on every student every day part.
Yeah, the whole thing.
You said it was because they wanted a different thing. But here's the other thing. That was in violation of the policy that they passed.
Well,
it was.
See, this is where I have issues with things. I understand policy and I understand things. However, if you make it too broad, if the policy is too broad, then you're more or less cutting your nose off to spite your face on anything you do.
Yeah.
Right.
Because, like Ella says, there's not supposed to be anything. However, like I said, administration can override things.
Right.
They have been given that power. And I use the word power, and I don't even think that's it. I think it's their discretion. That if, let's say I was a teacher, and I had stuff up in my room that said, be kind, or, as long as you try, you're not a failure. Just things like that, okay? I would think that would be okay. Now, according to what the new forward plan of the school and the atmosphere or the temperature of the school, that may not be what they want. They may not like those messages. Do you see what I'm saying? So the whole thing is...
So it's arbitrary, is what you're saying.
Right.
It depends on what the administrator thinks. Because the enforcement of the policy is so difficult to do.
Right.
It's very unclear.
Well, and it makes it hard for the principals and everybody to have to police. For lack of a
that's
better
what you're
word.
really
So the
doing.
administration can just say, I don't care about the policy. We can put this up anyways. Is that what you're...
That's my understanding.
Well, then what's the point of the policy?
That's my understanding.
We're going to get to the point of the policy later because
Well,
we're going to delve deeper into really what's truly behind these policies. But Ella, you do raise a good question about what's behind it. But I think there's a deeper answer than just words on a paper. There's more going on here.
Yeah.
Well,
let me actually do Let me do a little comparison here between the two.
Yeah,
policies.
please do. Put that up there.
Okay, so here is the policy. It says anything that is not one of these 7 things is not allowed to be displayed anywhere in the school. Now this is different from what Hartland has.
Yes.
Let me show you what Hartland says. Hartland, it bans any flags that are not these 7. But in addition to that, it bans anything depicting any social policy and or religious or political causes.
Right. So
if it's one of those, then it's banned unless it's one of those 8 things.
Okay.
And the main difference here is that the Fowlerville policy is now excessively broad. So
yeah, I wanted to talk about that.
Well, but it also says, if you look up here, look at the very top.
Yeah.
Content neutral policy with respect to the appropriate usage and displays of items in district buildings or on or in district property, including... So, I'm a bus driver, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I am not allowed to put anything on the bus. So I can't put, a pride sticker on the bus. I can't put, another country's flag in my bus. However, it was said by one of the board members that does not rule for what I personally wear.
So you can wear something.
I can wear something. If I own a computer and I'm at the school, let's say I'm a teacher, and it's my computer, I can have a rainbow.
And that's different than Hartland.
Right, Hartland is saying...
Hartland has saying no rainbows. Nobody can, except unless you're a student, nobody can wear a rainbow.
Well, that's just what one of the school board members is saying.
Okay,
See,
but the policy
Hartland, so I
says
can't
on
speak.
your person for Hartland.
No, the policy does not say anything about whether it's on your person or not on your person. All it says is that it cannot be in the school. That's all it says.
See, so in the school, what
That's
does that...
very vague.
Well, that means that you can't wear that into the school, because in the school, to me, would mean a teacher wouldn't be allowed to wear.
Okay.
And Glenn Gogolewski is definitely taking this position that it includes what a teacher wears on their person, which is actually really interesting, in my opinion.
Okay, so, and we're going to talk about that. Hold that thought for just a minute, because I do want to come back to that. But Jace, let's because we're talking about 2 different school districts here. We're going to keep this, try to keep it a little structured here. So can you talk to me a little bit about... I understand we're talking about all this minutia. Who can wear what? The whole thing just seems a little bit ridiculous to me, because it's so... It's a lot of like pointless BS in my opinion. I'm just gonna say it, okay? It's a lot of like just getting so wrapped up in these, who's wearing this and who's got this on their wall, and people, it creates this divisive environment for adults where mistrust is sown, like, between each other, because everyone's looking at, what is she wearing, or what has she got on her wall? Oh, I'm going to take a picture of this, and I'm going to tell the administration. Like, it takes the focus away from education, where it should be, which is supposedly the whole reason they had this in the first place, was to focus on the curriculum. You know, but how can teachers focus on curriculum when they are so busy policing things like, I'll tell you what I heard. I don't know if you know anything about this, but I was told that, like, in Fowlerville, you can't even have, like, Santa Claus, jack-o'-lanterns, like, holiday snowmen. I mean, what do we know about this?
I've heard stuff. I don't know yet, because nothing, as a parent, I haven't heard anything yet.
Are you going to get in trouble if you put a picture, or do you not even know?
I don't know.
Like, if you put a picture of Santa on your bus or a jack-o'-lantern, are you going to get in trouble?
I don't know, because there hasn't been a definite decision. I'm concerned about myself because, as you saw in last week's episode, I dress up. Yeah. I wear costumes, and I try to do that to bring an air of joy and excitement to the kids. I mean, sometimes the kids will ask me, will you dress up as this, Mr. Jace? And then I have to go to my wife, who is my costume designer, and I say, hey, the kids asked for this, can we do it? Right. So it concerns me because, you know, that's part of who I am. That's
part of who you are, and it's part of what makes school so fun for little kids.
Right.
Like, especially this time of year.
Right.
We're coming up on Halloween, or Christmas, like Thanksgiving. These are huge holidays for kids.
So as far as I know, you know, I hope it doesn't happen.
Me too.
I hope that's not what's coming down the pike. If it does, as an employee, I will honor what I'm told.
Sure.
Because
well, that's what you're told. You didn't make the policy.
But I'm going to follow what the district says because that's what I'm supposed to do. However, doesn't mean that I have to like it.
Right. And I got a question. I got a question for Fowlerville parents out there who are watching today, here watching the Stir. Is that what you want? I would strongly encourage anyone watching this today to ask themselves this question. As a parent, is that what you... Listen, I'm not a parent, okay? I don't have children, I have dogs. But I know a lot of parents, I talk to a lot of parents, and I care about what goes on in my community and what goes on in schools. I care, you know, because that affects me. Like, I really believe that kids, like we were saying last episode, kids are the hope for our future.
Right.
And I care, even though I don't have children of my own, I care that children get a good education and that they have a well-rounded and good experience, like a joyful experience in education, because that helps. So parents of Fowlerville, you know what? Send us a letter if you want to. You can send us an email, thestirpod@proton.me. Send us a message. Are you a parent that really wants jack-o'-lanterns, Santa Clauses, witches, ghosts, whatever, everything that is like all around this time of year that's coming up here, taken away from your kids at school over what? You know what, to be honest, I'm not even sure I fully understand what is the purpose of this policy. And I can tell you also that I know that parents and teachers in the Fowlerville district do not understand what this is all about. They don't know what brought this on. They have asked the school board to help explain to them where this issue came from, because it appears to have come out of nowhere for Fowlerville. There were no complaints. Yeah, no email. The district can't seem to give an answer.
If I remember correctly, the justification was a thing that appeared in a yearbook, which is like not even something that would be applicable to this policy, because this is like anything affixed to like the building or any other furnishes or pertinences.
Well, that just sounds very vague. I mean, okay, so if that's it, if it comes down to a yearbook, administrators, you've created all this, or not administrators, excuse me, the Fowlerville School Board.
Well, if this applies to yearbooks, then you just straight up cannot have a yearbook.
Yeah, let's get rid of yearbooks too. Let's just keep getting rid of things until we're completely neutral.
I just have to ask this question. I was never in yearbook or journalism. You have been.
I was in high school journalism.
Okay,
yeah,
all right,
4 years.
all right.
The
now,
main four.
when you were in
represent.
high school, because we all know
yeah,
public journalism and high school journalism are different when it comes to what can be published in your school paper.
it depends on the school, but yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Ultimately,
saying.
they get it.
So, whoever, like what Ella said, because I remember something being stated about a senior picture that had a flag in it that was put in the yearbook. Now, I was a teacher. I know what I was told I could not say or talk about. Like when I taught world history, I could not, especially the world religions.
Right.
I could not give my opinion.
Sure.
Or my beliefs on something. I had to give the facts.
Right.
Straight the facts, okay? In this case, wouldn't a teacher or the editor of the yearbook say, can we have this picture? Is this picture okay to put in the yearbook? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wouldn't somebody have been monitoring what was put in? Like, kids can't write, like, what do they do when they're seniors? They ask you, what's your dream?
Yeah. Well,
You can't just
we
put
don't
something
even know.
obscure in there that's, like, dirty.
We don't even know if this is
But
what
this is
the
what I'm
situation
saying.
is.
So, but if it is, why wasn't it stopped before it got able to be put in the book?
I don't know.
So these are all questions that nobody has been able to tell us.
I don't know. I just feel that, like, this whole term neutral is just a very problematic term because there are things we teach in school that are not neutral. You know why? Because as a country, there are ideas that we have about this country being a pluralistic society where everyone has equal rights. That is a foundational tenet of the United States of America, as outlined in the U.S. Constitution, which everyone loves to scream about out here in this county. But I don't know how many people they have actually read it. But it is not, the Constitution is not neutral. It has principles on it that it is actually very firm, that take a very firm stance on a number of issues,
Right.
including voting rights, women's rights, you name it, the rights of First Amendment rights, the rights of the press. These are not neutral ideas. So what I don't understand, and maybe there's somebody out there who can help me understand it, and if you wanna message us, please help explain. Why are we expecting schools to take a neutral stance on something like equal rights for LGBTQ folks? Our country doesn't take a neutral stance on equal rights for LGBTQ folks. No. Our state doesn't. We just passed the Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act. The rights of these two friends of mine who are sitting right here are not in question. The rights that Jace has, the rights that Ella has, are the rights that I have and everyone else in this country has. It is not a question, nor is it ever going to be a question. So why? Help me understand. Why are we expecting our schools and our teachers to treat this issue like it's a question? It makes no sense. Make it make sense.
Well,
Somebody make it make sense.
Well, they want to start at getting rid of it in the schools because, you can't have any kids thinking that it's not okay to be bad to queer people. We got to make sure that the kids all
you got to own the
that...
minds of the youth. Who said that? Who said own the minds of the youth and then you'll have them forever? Who said that?
I think...
I'm a history teacher. I can tell
Who said it, Jace?
Adolf Hitler.
Adolf Hitler said that.
I'm a resident history teacher here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jace.
And I'm not even going to look at... I got up in front of the school board because I made it a point and I made it a mission of mine to get up and speak to the school board in a respectful manner because I need them to hear what somebody who has experienced things go through. Mm-hmm. And when they talked about the pride flag, I got up in front of them one night and I told them, I said, 45 years ago or longer, because this is my 40th year of graduating from high school, is 2024.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay.
If I would have had something like this,
Yeah.
45 years ago or whatever, when I was in middle school or younger, it may have been my saving grace. I'm not saying that all teachers are not safe, and I think that's been the big argument, is if a teacher doesn't want to put the rainbow sticker that says safe space on their door, then children will not look to them. Children like myself would not look to them as being a safe space, and then now we're saying, don't talk to them.
And you're saying that's
not the
necessarily
point.
the case.
No, that's not necessarily. That's not how it works.
Okay.
Kids know who's safe.
Right.
I know you don't need a sticker, but it's like with me, okay? People know I'm safe. Everybody knows I'm safe because of who I am.
Right.
Just myself.
Right.
There are some teachers who are very closed up. They don't display a lot of that. There's no warm fuzzies with some teachers.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean they're not safe, and I get that. However, I'm not going to go to them. Mm-hmm. I want warm and fuzzy because I need warm and fuzzy. It would have saved me multiple attempts on my life, okay, if I would have known that I had these spaces. That's why I decided years ago that I was going to stick up for those who were less marginalized, because I know how it feels. I know firsthand how it feels, okay? So the flag is not about, I'm going to wave it because, I want everybody to know what I am. No, it is representing that, this is me. This is me. Yeah, see? This is me. And I feel bad because there are kids. I mean, I've known since I was 4 years old, that I was different. Right. So, them doing this, now they're taking away that, because not every child out there has a personality like me. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Or your strength. I mean, the strength it even took to share that.
I want people to know what is going on, unless, what is that old saying, walk a mile in my shoes.
Yeah.
If you can't walk a mile in my shoes, you won't know. And it's like I said when I went in front of the Hartland School Board. I said, in order to understand, you have to be understood.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. Yeah. That's why I respect other people's ideas and feelings. I don't have to agree with you, but I still respect you because that's your right. You are a human, and I will never talk bad about people. I just never will, because that's not who I am. Right. You have that right. I just want everybody to be safe, but especially kids. Because there are kids out there, and everybody thinks that this is a phase, and kids are doing it because it's, what's the word?
A trend.
A trend. Trust me. People, I grew up in a heterosexual family. Both my parents are heterosexual. My brother is a heterosexual. My aunts and uncles and cousins, heterosexual. I grew up learning about Dick, Jane, and Spot in books. All my teachers were heterosexual, married with children. Mm-hmm. Where did I come from?
Yeah. I don't think there's anyone who's ever met you for 2 minutes who would look at you and know you and think anything less that you are a man and that this is your identity and this is how you present yourself, and it's a fundamental part of who you are. And I just want to say thank you so much for sharing. I know that's difficult to talk about taking your life. I cannot imagine. And it takes a lot of strength to even share it. And you're sharing it for a good reason, because I think it is so important for people here in this county to hear stories like this. This is one of the main reasons why I wanted to really do this podcast, was that we could start having real conversations about what it's actually like. And I think, and we're going to keep doing that, just so you know, we're going to keep that conversation going as we keep doing this show. But I think a lot of what it comes from is that people are afraid because they don't understand. There's a lot of fear, and the fear leads, like, okay, we're a big Star Wars fans in the household, and to quote Yoda, okay, I just have to. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Like, that is so true, and that's where it comes from. And so, yeah, I just wanted to say, just to thank you for sharing that story. So anyway, let's keep this going. Let's switch a little bit of gears, because there's something we need to switch over and talk about where these I think we touched on this a little bit, where the policies originated from. Excuse me, I'm like getting back into my notes because this just got like really emotional for a second. Like, it really did. And Jace, if you need
No, I'm okay.
You're good, okay?
I'm good. Yeah, thank you.
And thank you. I just want to say thank you. Thank you. If I could get up from behind this desk, I would hug you. But I'm wedged in here right now. So I can't, but I'll hug you after. So we talked a little bit about where the policies originated from. Do you think, Ella, we covered that pretty good? And then we talked about how they're different. So now let's focus next on what the fallout has been. And maybe we should have got to this earlier. I don't know, because this is really where the meat and potatoes of this discussion, like the fallout and the why, is really fascinating to me. So we're going to air some footage here in a minute. I want to set you up for this. I mentioned earlier on in the podcast that there was a group of candidates in Hartland who ran as the Clean Slate, okay? And the Clean Slate slogan was education, not indoctrination. And these are mostly far-right, MAGA Republicans, like, who ran this slate, promising to bring transparency and to the district, because they had issues with transparency and they wanted local control and whatever. And ever since the Clean Slate started, they've been going after pride flags. Like, they have been targeting this issue of pride flags in school. It's a fixation for the Clean Slate. Now, not so much, because they got what they wanted, right? They got elected to the board. Glenn, Blondeel, and Keller all got elected to the board. And now they don't really talk about indoctrination so much anymore, because it's not an issue for them, because they got on and they've got their policies, and that hasn't become discussed. But at any rate, so there was a meeting on February 9th of this year where I'm not going to necessarily call it a secret meeting, but it was not a public meeting. It was not a meeting where anybody could just walk in and sit down. I guarantee you, if I would have found out about this meeting and I would have went in there and just sat down, they would have ran me off. I would not have been welcome there. And I know I don't know if Jace or Ella, if you would have gone, that would have been an interesting show. But we didn't try to do that. But I'm just saying, it wasn't a meeting of, like, diverse points of view. This was a meeting that there was a schools of choice parent. Her name was Brooke. She was the one who kind of helped start the Clean Slate. She's like a social media influencer for the right wing. She had a big TikTok. She is not even in Hartland schools anymore. Okay, that's the important thing to know about Brooke. She was schools of choice. She took her kids out of Hartland. And I don't know where she is now, to be honest. She might be in her home district.
I think she's in Fenton.
Fenton. Oh, is it Fenton? Okay, maybe Fenton. So maybe she went back home to Fenton. But at the time, she didn't live in the county, and she had her kids in schools of choice here in Hartland. So this was during that time. So at this meeting on February 9th, Michelle Blondeel attended this meeting. Okay, Michelle Blondale had just been elected to the Hartland School Board in November of that previous year, and this is now February. And if you look on, there's a Clean Slate website, you can see Michelle Blondale ran on a campaign of promising transparency. Her main criticism of Hartland schools was that Hartland was not transparent. Like, they were not being transparent.
Okay.
And so she was at this meeting that Brooke put on, and we're gonna play. And during that meeting, Blondale she shared some pretty revealing thoughts about the pride flags. And keep in mind, this is before the policy was the most recent iteration of 8805 was adopted. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to listen to a clip of this meeting.
And we're going to have subtitles.
We're going to have subtitles.
Totally
and
done by me.
Before anybody comes at me with a cease and desist, just be aware, Michigan is a one-party consent state, so let me just save you the time if anyone's thinking about doing that right now. Yeah. Go ahead, do what you got to do, but we're a one-party consent state, so let it roll, Ella.
And she said, I've heard about all the flags. I didn't really know what it meant. She said, we took a tour and we were walking the halls. And she said, as an outsider, she said, I felt like I had to pick a side. She said it was so bad, like the vibe that she was getting. She's like, I couldn't even believe how...
This is not
Blondale. Like, she just felt really like...
This is a parent talking.
From who, though? Like, was it like the parents or teachers?
No,
or
like
parents?
flags that are like hardcore
parents,
rainbow
it was like a
flags
tour.
flying and...
A tour through for...
Oh, so one room she'd go in and there would be a flag, and then the next room maybe there wasn't a flag?
Yeah, it was like just in the hall.
So
Are these the sticker on the door?
How many teachers are there? How many teachers are in the high school?
She said, yeah, she said it was...
And see, this is what I'm talking about, is like...
Do you see
I
them by
met
chance?
with-
I didn't go around the building. I
Okay.
had not seen them, but honestly, the last time I did a tour was like this past summer when I took my daughter over.
And they're down during the summer. I think.
Yeah.
So I met with John Conley, he's on the
right.
board, and Bill Tromley, about a week ago. Actually, I met with him a couple times. John's telling me, and I looked at the law last night, every classroom is, because Brighton didn't have this a couple years back, they got it corrected. Every classroom has got to have an American flag, and that can be the only flag
Should be.
in the classroom. So John had
But he has access, and listen to what he does.
He had a pile of signs.
'Cause he can
just goes
walk
in there and
around.
tells them. He can walk in there. He said he walks in there, tells the janitor, "Hey, open this door." He goes in and inspects the room. So he had a pile of signs.
Can you do that, Michelle?
They won't let me do that.
So John told. Well, I told you.
So
John,
I said, like, I would think that, like, it's controversial, but we're getting there because we talked about this, and I was like, you know, if we go in there one night, because I was in there on trades night, and one of the custodians were in there, and I know she would have just opened that door, and I could have taken that off of, you know, because I was walking
I
around
was
and
going to
seeing
pull them
it.
down tonight, but they're all on the inside.
Yeah, they're all on the insides of the door, so you can't
But-
get to them.
Yeah.
John told me. John said to set a meeting up. Myself and John were going to go and take Michelle because he's a taxpayer in Livingston County. He said he has a right to go.
Yeah.
So he said he'll pull them down.
Well,
So
and
I don't know if I think
but
you challenge them and just show up
what
there.
she was
and tell
saying
them,
is, as an adult, she said, I felt very, like, I had to pick, and I'm an adult, and I was uncomfortable. She's like, what are these kids
Feeling.
And I said, oh,
And that's
very
not safe
divided.
for them.
I said, my
No.
son, you know, they get picked on from the other side. You know, you're a racist, you're a hillbilly, you're
Bigot,
a redneck,
yeah.
you're, you know,
And that's okay.
and that's
Chuck-
totally fine.
I met with Chuck for about an hour and a half just before the holidays over this safe space, and Chuck's reply, and Tom Urich is the assistant principal there. Tom is, well, your daughter feels comfortable, she could just come to me. And Chuck said the same thing. Chuck's like, well, you know, just tell me if your kids are getting picked on. Chuck, that's not the point. You know, they should not have to feel that.
Right.
And my thing to Chuck was,
It's a sexually,
It is.
it's a sexual
Yeah, it's nice
in
and
nature. Like,
Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
Now let me just understand
Yeah,
this.
let's
This
get
was
some
a
thoughts.
meeting that, like, almost like a closed. So this was not an Open Meetings Act. This is not.
No, they
part
didn't
of-
have a quorum, so they didn't have a quorum, so they didn't have to have it. I think
Yeah.
the only board member there was Michelle.
Yeah.
But another
Okay.
person who was there was another person who was there was Angela Yarber. And I think it should be noted, maybe it was last week. Yeah, I think it was last week. Angela Yarber, I don't know if you have a picture of that or not, Ella. Do you put up a Facebook page? She is running for Hartland School Board in this next election. Ella, see if maybe she can pull it up. But I'm not sure when this was. She's got a post up there. And Angela Yarber was in attendance. Yep. Can you see it? Oh. Let's see here. One day ago, it says. Oh, okay. Is this on the screen now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, Holly Quinn Austin. Oh, that's a familiar name to me. Holly was the person who tried to have me arrested on a felony for tweeting. But she supports Angela Yarber, so there's that. So anyway, Angela was present at this meeting with Michelle Blondil, and now, she was one of the people who supported what was being said here, and now Angela's going to run for Hartland School Board, and this is really important to know because we have it through the grapevine, and I was told it was okay to say this today, but it's possible we might be losing another school board member that is not a clean slate school board member. I'm going to withhold saying who that is for now because I'm not 100% sure it's okay for me to say who. But we may be losing another candidate. So if Angela Yarber gets on the school board, you're going to basically have a clean slate majority in Hartland, and they're just going to keep eroding the trust that parents have in each other. They're going to continue to create this hostile environment in the district, and these policies that are absolutely insane. So one other thing I want to say just really quickly about this video with Michelle Blondil. So this was Michelle's statement on the Clean Slate website when she ran. She says, I'll quote this, "Michelle has experienced firsthand the lack of transparency and accountability school administration has demonstrated over the past several years." That's her statement on her Clean Slate website. But now, and earlier, I'll set this up. Keep that statement in mind. This is not on the video, but we have the whole video. And by the way, we will be talking more about this video in future episodes, the one that we just played, because there's more footage. But prior to this recording, she was complaining about how she had to schedule visits as a board member to observe students, and that she felt that was wrong. Just like Glenn Gogoleski, Michelle feels that she should be able to walk into the school anytime and observe students for any reason. And that's exactly the complaint that Glenn made that got his wife investigated for a FERPA violation, which it was later found out, we will say this, never went anywhere. She was basically...
Well, I don't think it was the part where he complained about not being able to...
Well, it's what led to him saying...
Yeah, he was like, oh, my wife works, and she has seen so much...
Right. He was on that podcast, which is the podcast that shall not be named. Yes. He was on that, and he was talking about how he didn't have access to school buildings, and that's what led him to talk about his wife. Yeah. So let me just finish my thought here, but I just want to say this one thing. So here you have Blondil complaining about how they won't just let her in the school districts to observe students, but then she turns right around in this video and is heard strategizing ways to break into a classroom, even though she said she never actually did that. She's strategizing it to take property belonging to teachers, specifically these safe space stickers. That is not her property. That is teachers' property. Now, mind you, this is before the policy was implemented. So this is not, Michelle, if you are watching, what transparency looks like. I don't think anyone would think that a school board member sneaking into a classroom and stealing a teacher's sticker on the fly after a custodian let her in is a definition of transparency in any sense, and let alone talking about it at some sort of private meeting. But what it looks like to me is glorification of personal theft of teachers' property. That's what that looks like to me. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to go off here. Kasey's going to go off. How dare you? How dare you These are teachers in our district who have given everything. They have given their time. They have given their heart, their soul, their blood, their sweat, their tears. And you are sneaking around at an event.
Well, she's not sneaking around. She's talking about sneaking
She's
around.
talking about sneaking. Oh,
We
but no.
can't say
No. She didn't sneak into a classroom. I'm going to be very clear about that. But she did say, she said it on this video, oh, I could have just gone in and talked to the custodian. And the custodian would have just let me in to steal teacher's stuff.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, bring me down, Jace, because I am lit up over this now.
I always try to come at things. You know how I am.
Help me out.
My question is, and please help me out, why? Now, I'm just saying, let's take all this away. Let's say this was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
There was no issues with flags and all that stuff. Here's my question. Were board members allowed to go in classrooms or come into the school during the school day 10 years ago?
So I covered Pinckney schools when I worked as a journalist 20 years ago.
Okay.
The environment was, I covered Pinckney schools for 5 years, okay? I was at every school board meeting for 5 years. I have never, ever, on any moment in time on those 5 years, witnessed the amount of disrespect that I have seen from Hartland, and now it's trickling down to Fowlerville, for their teaching, their group of teachers.
But that's not what my question is, though. My question is if they were allowed to come in just to observe, just a basic observation to see how things are going, when did that change? If they weren't allowed to come in, then why is there a problem now?
I think this is...
Do you understand where I'm getting at? They're making a big deal now. Why? If they... This is where I have a problem, and that's why I'm bringing this up. I need to know. I need it to be explained to me like I'm 5.
Yeah.
Okay? If they were allowed 10 years ago and nothing was ever changed, then they should be able to go into a school during... Because I asked Fowlerville at one of our board meetings. I said to them about going into the school, I would welcome the board to come in to see what's going on, because then they're witnessing things and they're seeing things, and when a teacher comes up and has a complaint or administration says this is happening, they know.
Well, if you're dealing with normal board members, I mean, it doesn't, that's what I'm trying to say. If the climate was different back then, I think it would have been fine.
But if it's never changed, then why can't they go in right now? Why do they have to supposedly ask a custodian to open the door? Just go during school hours.
Well, that's what she's talking. She's saying, and I don't have the footage to play, but the main complaint was that she shouldn't have to call in and schedule a visit.
No, she shouldn't.
She should just be able to drop in.
She should be.
Well, I don't know, though. If you're going to go into a teacher's classroom and take their stuff, I don't think you should just be allowed to just walk into a school classroom anytime you want to.
But if they were able to do it 10 years ago and no policy was changed, no law was changed, nothing was changed, why is it an issue now?
I can
see. This is what we need to find this out.
Maybe we will. Maybe we'll have to look into it. But
I'm not saying go in and take a teacher's stuff, but I'm talking about having access.
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be something, and I think that's something we need to look deeper into. I'm just...
We can follow up on that, but I want... we got a lot of ground to cover here.
Yeah.
So there's just one other thing I wanted to say about this vote before we move on and talk about what happened in Hartland. One other thing I wanted to mention about this vote. So I mentioned in the beginning of the podcast that Megan Glaybach's vote was the tiebreaker vote in Hartland, and that Glaybach was endorsed by the Hartland Education Association. I just want to say one other thing here very briefly, that I feel I can imagine that the teachers and the HEA are very unhappy with the chaos that this policy has sown in Hartland, that we're going to get into in just a minute here. This is my segue. But that was a betrayal of trust, in my opinion, of Glaybach's vote. The teachers endorsed her because they felt that she would be the best person for that job, and that she would be level-headed. And here she is going with the clean slate over this chaotic issue of that so much division in schools. It's just, I just want to say something, you know, on behalf of teachers here who might agree with me, that I don't understand. I don't think Glaybach is as like bad as
Neutral.
clean slaters, but I just really question the whole wisdom of.
Did
of
anybody
her
ask her?
choice. I don't know. I mean, hey Megan, if you want to come on our show, we would love to have you on the stir. You can come on the stir. We'll have you as a guest anytime.
You can sit right
can sit-
there
we
in
got a
that
chair
chair
for you
that
right
is out
there.
of frame.
Well, okay,
We'd
so
be happy to have
so
you
what
come in
else-
and
what else-
honestly explain why you voted the way that you did, because I would love to understand it, and I
So
don't.
what else has happened since
Okay.
this has gone out?
Okay, so let's go in. Let's talk about the Hartland School. Excuse me. We're gonna revert back to Fowlerville. We're gonna talk about the fallout of Fowlerville. There were real consequences. There were real negative things that happened in Fowlerville, right?
Some stuff was sent to you by a
Yes.
parent. What I wanna.
So
I
okay,
wanna-
so
I wanna get my glasses
we
on.
had. Well, it wasn't sent to me. It was in the news. Ella, can you show that
It was
picture?
in the
Yeah.
news.
It was covered. It wasn't
Yeah.
sent to
And
me.
by the way, you know, some people think that, like, oh, bigotry is only when someone goes out there and screams about how much they hate fags.
Oh.
That.
CBS News Detroit ran a story.
Oh,
okay.
this
So
is
they
from
ran.
CBS News.
Yes, this is from CBS News. They ran controversial flag policy passes at the school. They ran a whole segment on this, where they talked about Snapchat and TikTok videos that we're showing them to you because we really feel like it's important that people see with their own eyes that this is some of the negativity that resulted in the immediate aftermath of Fowlerville passing this policy. Okay, and one other thing I wanted to note that I didn't about this. Not a single Fowlerville board member, to my knowledge, that I am aware of, has stepped forward to publicly condemn these posts, despite the negative coverage that they received in the media. So these were not circulated in secret. CBS News did a full report on this, and like you can see here, showed pictures of the imagery. No, not a single board member acknowledged this and the hurt that it caused as a result of them backing a policy that obviously made people like this feel safe enough to say this, felt validated enough in their hatred. And the board is mum.
Are these adults or are these children?
We don't know. I mean, I don't know. Are they? I don't know. Do you know?
I
have
didn't
no
even
idea.
know there was anything out there from CBS News.
Yeah, I mean, it's Snapchat. I mean, these look kind of like they might be from young people, but I don't know. It doesn't really, I mean, if it's young people, that's really bad, because that means that they are being taught this through family and societal influences. Hatred like this doesn't just happen. It doesn't just spawn out of the ground. It is learned. It is learned behavior. So I think it's really, that's, you know, why we wanted to talk so in depth about this policy, because people need to understand and they need to see with their own eyes that this is what is happening. This is the outcome. This is the harassment, the hatred. And if you look at these and you don't think that hatred like this has any sort of an impact on the way students have their education and their educational experience and ability to learn in Fowlerville schools, then you, my friend, have got your blinders on and you need to lift them straight up. Am I wrong about that? I mean, I don't know. like it's bullying and it's wrong. It's wrong it's wrong for anyone.
Especially if you don't know what you're being told.
So,
it's like the word, the F word, F-A-G, okay? I had a young boy when I was substitute teaching, came in from the outside, and he said to me, they called me this name out on the playground.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I said, oh, really? I said, okay. So I brought the two other kids in. I grabbed the dictionary.
Mm-hmm.
I opened the book, and I said, what does it say that is?
Mm-hmm.
They read what it was. it's a bundle of sticks or it's a cigarette. I said, does this young man look like a bundle of sticks or a cigarette to you? And they said, no. And I said, well, then I wouldn't be calling him that.
Right.
That's not appropriate words, is it? I took it as a teachable moment. Well, of course, that was South Lyon Schools. And I was called into the principal's office the next morning, and I was told that I could not substitute in South Lyon Schools anymore because they don't need people like me there. And that was a big thing a few years ago. I don't know if anybody remembers it, but when the young child in 7th grade wanted the One Love by Macklemore song played in their choir class, and the choir teacher allowed it because their uncle was gay, and they wanted that song to play, and the teacher allowed it. Well, it caused a big storm. They had a big board meeting, and people came, talked, the news station, Taryn Asher interviewed me. You know, it was a big deal. And to come up with this, I'm telling you, people need to be educated.
Right.
And that's what needs to happen. And I think that's where the problem is.
And I love that you bring this perspective, that you have an educator's perspective that you can bring to us on the show. And I'm so sorry about what happened to you in South Lyon.
Oh, it is what it is. You know, I don't tell these stories.
But this is what
I tell them to let people know.
But this is what bigotry does. Like, you are so good with kids. You're such a good educator. And because one person had their blinds on, you know, blinded by their perceptions of LGBTQ.
Right.
They're like, well, kids missed out on that opportunity.
Right.
It's so sad. It's just so limiting. That's what I can't stand about people who are bigoted in this way. It shortchanges everybody.
Right.
So anyway, let's we've still got a little bit more ground to cover on this. There's one more major element. I wasn't lying, y'all, when I said we go in depth with these topics, but it is so important to do. So one more thing we're queuing up here. There's a plot twist, if you will. Okay, so we covered what happened in Fowlerville with the Snapchat images. Then what was this, last week? I think it was
2 weeks.
This
is Hartland.
Yeah. There's a game. There's a game. There's a football game, a home game in Hartland. And opening of the game, football players running out on the field. One of the players runs out with a Blue Lives Matter flag. Oh my God. A Blue Lives Matter flag right on the field.
And by the way, before we talk further about this, I just want to mention, if you look at this and you say, well, I don't think that's a social or a political cause, it doesn't matter whether it's a social or political cause or not. You know why? Because this is a flag. This is a flag.
It's definitely a flag. It's definitely a flag.
And if it's a flag, it doesn't matter. Go read the policy. That's what it says.
What is the S?
Oh, I think
the S and Eagles.
So it's the S and Eagles. Okay,
yeah.
So they had like a bunch of flags.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they spell out Eagles.
To get my bearings.
Yeah. And I mean, there's another flag up there. This is like a firefighter's flag. The red one is, and then I think that's an army flag. I don't really know, but at any rate, like Ella said, it's against the policy. Number one, right? Clear as day. No flags. But number two, this Blue Lives Matter flag, it used to be called the Thin Blue Line. And the meaning of it, like everything having to do with symbols, has evolved over time. Right. This was a flag that used to represent fallen police officers who died on the job, injured police officers. Now the meaning in this new world we have in this country, where of this alternative facts world that we live in, this flag has been adopted as a symbol of the far right. It gained popularity among the far right during the protests involving George Floyd, who was murdered by police. It was almost like a counter message. And since then, police organizations themselves have seen the problematic quality of this image. And you can look on Google, you could just Google it. There are police agencies that are saying, no, we don't want this. This flag is problematic. What it represents has become problematic, and it prevents us from most efficiently serving our communities the way that we should. Like, it builds division among people in our community, and we don't need that to do our jobs. So I'm not saying that whoever, we know now that this student was given permission by the coaches who claim they did not know anything about the policy. We're going to give them the benefit of the doubt on that here.
Sure.
Well, they should have known about the policy.
They should have known about the policy.
Here's the thing.
But they might not have.
Here's the thing. This was against the policy before Gogolewski ever bungled with it.
Right.
It was against the policy always to have a flag that is not one of the 8 exceptions to what are allowed flags.
And they should have known.
But let's be honest. They're coaches, unless they're teachers or they're in the school district. Are they going to sit and read the policies?
No. And to be honest with you, my work has a ton of policies too. I don't even know.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. So
we're going to give the coaches the benefit of the doubt here, and I'm going to further give the coaches
Yes.
the benefit of the doubt that they were not aware. I was told, I'm not 100% sure if this is true, but that one of the coaches was retired law enforcement and another was retired fire. I can't really verify that, but if that's the case, it's possible that they didn't understand or know anything about the problematic nature of this image. But it's, as Ella said, it's still against the policy. But again, just like the pride flag, this is what I find fascinating. The pride flag and the Blue Lives Matter flag are both symbolisms that have a lot of misunderstanding around them. So again, this just highlights the subjective nature of what is considered neutral.
Right.
I'm going to say one final thing about this, okay? This is a bad policy. It's born of rotten intent, as well as ill-conceived and simplistic notions about what it means for something to be content neutral. And we can see with the controversy over the Blue Lives Matter flag in this game, whether or not something is neutral, it's highly subjective, based on the opinions of the person that is observing what is in front of them. Right. So how are you supposed to police this? You can't. And what it's done is it's created these unintended consequences, which could even eventually include litigation for the school at some point. We don't really know. But it gets back to my question. For what? For what? Why? Let's stop the insanity. Hartland parents, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Fowlerville parents. Is this really what you want to do? Is this really what you want to see happen in your classrooms? Where, like, you have this environment of mistrust where everybody's complaining about this flag or that flag or this poster or that poster? Or would you rather have a district where where trust is nurtured? Trust in intention is nurtured. Trust in teachers is nurtured. That is ultimately what creates a healthy school district. And students will do better from that. Don't you? I mean, am I wrong about that, Jace? You're an educator. Am I saying anything incorrect here?
It's like anything else. If a kid feels safe, they're going to do better anywhere they are. So yeah, I agree.
Okay. Does anybody have anything more?
No,
that I think
I'm
we've
still
covered a
trying
lot
to-
about.
I'm
I mean,
still-
it's so much to process. But
I have something to talk about.
what's that?
So last month during the school board meeting, Gogolewski had a problem with something.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead and talk about it.
All right. So this is Chris Costa wearing a rainbow.
Okay. He looks so happy there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, but
He had a problem with this.
Okay.
Now I talked to him. He specifically said that he thinks this is in violation of the policy. Those are his words. He said this is in violation of the policy that he put in.
Why?
I don't know.
Because there was a rainbow on it?
Because there is a rainbow, whatever.
Yeah. Even though it's the University of Hawaii.
Honestly, I don't care if this is or is not in violation of the policy. The important thing is that in Glenn's opinion, it is.
Okay.
That's the important thing.
But the problem is that we can't dictate. Nobody can dictate what a college has as a mascot or as a description of themselves.
Well, here's the thing.
And college flags and stuff are allowed.
No. It says displays from colleges or universities, not of. This is of a college or university. From would be if they went to Hawaii and got a sign from there, brought it back, and then wore it.
No, well, now you're being literal.
Yeah, that's what she's doing here. She's been doing that the whole time,
and that's what I'm saying. And that's okay, but see, this is where my argument comes in, is why be literal? I mean, we can't look at it
because that's how they are.
But they're not looking at it literal.
They look at it literally when it suits them.
Well, when
so
they
why
wrote the
shouldn't
policy,
I?
it's literal. There is a literal. She's right. There is a little literal element here.
But when they want it to be,
when it suits them,
right?
That is the point. Okay, so that is the thing. So,
well, I like the shirt.
I think it's a great shirt, and he looks very happy there. That's Chris Costa's school board member. Did we say he was on the school board? I don't know if we said that or not. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Anyways.
He's on the Hartland school board.
So
what I want to mention, though,
go ahead.
if you look at the policy, it says down here, any social policy and or religious or political causes. Let me focus in on this religious bit right here. Mm-hmm. I just want to say...
You said Glaybach added that. You said she...
Yes, Glaybach added that last minute.
Last minute. Okay.
It was like a last minute addition. It was very confusing, but it was added. But I'm just going to say this. Now, I'm not accusing anyone of anything, because I don't know. I only saw her wearing it at the school board meeting, and I'm sure at the school board meeting she's acting as a member of the public. Right. But I really, really hope that Janine Gogoleski was not wearing that cross around her neck while working. Now, I don't know if
teachers can't wear crosses while they can't wear crosses according to this policy,
and according
which you have done an excellent job breaking down literally for us.
And according to the way Glenn Gogoleski explains the policy, according to that, crosses not allowed if you're a teacher.
Again, is ridiculous because no matter how you feel about Mrs. Gogoleski, she should be able to wear a cross at school when she wants to teach. There's nothing wrong with wearing a cross at school.
Right.
When you're doing or teacher, I don't. She's a secretary, I think. Yeah,
but it doesn't matter.
What's wrong with that?
That's okay. If you look at it, and you really break down now, what is the issue? If they say all these other things down here, it takes the focus away from rainbow flags.
Right, and that's really
what
really what this is about. This is my final statement I'm going to say about this. Okay, so is that okay?
That's good.
Because we got to wrap up and move into some other things. But that is what this is about. It is a distraction. Okay, and that's really important for people to understand. This clean slate is and has been targeting LGBTQ students with these policies, and it's not about education here. It's about scoring points on the backs of students and teachers, which is not how you build trust in a school district. It's not about political gamesmanship. A school is a community. I have said it time and time again today. I feel like a broken record. There needs to be trust between everybody. There needs to be a belief in each other and an understanding of how all your roles work together to produce well-adjusted children in society who can go on and do great things for future generations. Like, that is really the whole point of school. Not as some football field where people score points off each other off the backs of kids. That's not what this is about. And in the end, everybody loses. Everybody loses with a policy like this. Certainly teachers and students do. It's not about education. It's about them. It's about them. And I really hope we get to do more discussion about this. We are going to be doing some more discussion about this moving forward. We're going to do a whole episode devoted to some school board members that have been not just in Hartland and Fowlerville, but we have a guest coming on. I'm not going to say who it is right now. There'll be a promo of it in the future, but we have our guest book where we are going to be talking about some of the, who I call bad actors in this community, who are school board members and who do not have the best interest of kids at heart. But we will be talking about that in October. In the meantime, I want to let you know there's going to be a TikTok video on our TikTok. Our TikTok is, oh boy, let me see if I can find it here. Our TikTok is @TheStirPod. So if you go to TikTok @TheStirPod, all one word, follow our TikTok. You can get a TikTok footage of the meeting footage that we just posted here today. When that'll be available when this episode airs on. Let's see, we're airing this on the 17th. Yeah.
Because.
Tell us, Jace, why was it so important we get this episode out early?
Because Hartland has their school board meeting on the 18th.
On September 18th.
September 18th at 6:30. You need to.
Yeah, so Hartland parents, if you're listening to this podcast, if what you have seen today, you maybe didn't know about it before, but now you do, and it upsets you and you want to speak out, either, be aware that the Hartland School Board meeting Monday, 9/18 at 6:30 p.m. And Ella, where is that school board meeting?
It is at the old high school.
The old Hartland High School?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what street that's on?
It's on M59.
On M59. So you can tune into those as well. If you don't want to go to the meeting, you could still watch it on Zoom. There will be, they do their meetings on Zoom. Just go to the Hartland Consolidated Schools website and learn more about that. Okay?
Excellent.
Excellent. Oh boy, wow, was that a topic? We are moving right along.
Wow. We
are hitting you all with information today.
Are we ready for good vibes yet? I'm ready for good vibes.
Don't you have a rant?
I have a rant. Okay.
Oh, no.
These people watching like, has this woman not ranted? No.
I don't know. Maybe you should save that rant. You've already ranted.
Like, I got notes here, and I need a fan. I'm giving myself a fan. I need a StirPod fan.
You ranted earlier too.
I know. I did rant, but listen, I got one other thing to get off my chest, and this is completely unrelated to school boards right now.
Yes.
But I want to talk about this, okay? So I'm scrolling Facebook, and I see this post from State Representative Bob Bazat, where he calls paid family leave. So let me back up here. Gretchen Whitmer announced last week in a letter, she does it regularly, where she talks about policies that she would like to introduce, in the future. Not that she necessarily has the details on the policy, but it's like, this is her intent to introduce something on these various topics. And one of them was paid family leave. This was merely an announcement of her intent. So at this time, that's all that exists, okay? Well, Michigan GOP in the state legislature, the MIGOP, they lost their minds over this, okay? So there was this whole story that ran it's a great story on themessenger.com. You can Google this article and learn all about it. I'm very happy that Bob shared this story on the Messenger because it gives a great rundown of what he actually said. But basically, what infuriated me so much about what he's saying here, and this mirrors the talking points that you can read about in this article. And I'll post a link to the article on our Facebook too, so you can see it. But he calls paid family leave a summer break for adults. Now, I don't know the policy that Gretchen Whitmer wants to introduce. We don't know much about how it's going to be funded or anything like that, but we know that it's targeted toward families who have sick people who have sick family members who need to take personal time to take care of them.
Right.
And it also applies to mothers, like new mothers or fathers who have a new baby in the house, a newborn, and they need to take time for maternity leave or paternity leave. Because believe it or not, maybe Bob Bazat doesn't know this, but not every job offers paid family leave, okay?
Right.
I'll do it really quickly. So a long time ago, many years ago, I started out working I worked for Michigan Medicine as a clerk. Okay, I worked in Mott Hospital, and there was a clerk that worked on a unit adjacent to mine. It was the NICU clerk, like peds ICU, like not peds ICU, newborns, like NICU, tiny babies, neonatal intensive care. And I go down to talk to this woman who I just was kind of getting to know. She's a young girl. And she starts telling me, she's a temp employee, okay? She just started, so she did not have U of M benefits. She just started working down there. She tells me, I'm not even kidding you, she had just had a baby 2 days earlier. I will never forget this story. 2 days. She's sitting at the desk, she's got her computer and whatnot, and I said, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean you just had a baby 2 days ago? I said, why aren't you home with the baby? And she's just young. She's real young. And she says, well, I have to be here. I have to work. I have to get money. Like, I can't afford to stay home with my baby. I got my family taking care of my baby. And this was, mind you folks, on the night shift. This is overnight. Yeah. So here's this young woman sitting there at this desk, looking after other people's babies when she's got her own baby at home. And she doesn't have paid leave. Because now, she was a permanent employee with U of M, she would have had paid leave. But because she was temping, she didn't have that. And a lot of clerks are hired in through the temp process. So I thought about that woman when I was reading this story. I thought to myself, first of all, it's ridiculous to even go on and criticize this show, or to criticize this policy, because Gretchen Whitmer hasn't even announced how she's going to do it. So any critiques they're levying against her are for a plan that don't even exist yet. But people, they don't even realize the popularity of family leave. It is very popular. Ella, do you got your thing up where I could see that again? Sorry. So real quickly, I'm gonna wrap this up quick. But if you can look here on the screen, it says here, Data for Progress poll in February, 79% of Americans support paid family and medical leave, including 72% of Republicans. 72% of Republicans support paid family leave. So this is something that people have overwhelmingly said they want. So maybe Republicans should just listen to what Gretchen Whitmer has to say first. I don't know. Maybe that's my first point. Second point, family leave is popular. And, this is why the Michigan GOP, has become a clown show. They have no in-touch popular policies of their own to offer, so it's all just media circus all the time, and people are tired of it. And then, lastly, where do people like Bob Bazat, who do not support a woman's right to choose, do not support a woman's right to make decisions about when she wants to start her own family, where do they get off not supporting paid family leave? So you're going to tell women, let's get this right. Let's break this down. You're going to tell women that they have to have their child. They have to have their to give birth. Okay? No choice. That's if Bob Bazat ran the world, that's how he would do. I don't know how he feels about rape or incest. I don't know but I know that he's against a woman's right to choose about her own body. So you're going to take that away. Overwhelmingly unpopular decision, by the way. People in Michigan overwhelmingly support choice. We know that because of the vote. We know that because people approved a constitutional amendment. And yet he doesn't think every mother should have the ability to stay home, raise her newborn without having to worry about losing her job or taking a pay cut, and just be home with her child for a few weeks. And Bob, I want to ask moms. I'm not a mom. You're not a mom. You had children. Is that how you would characterize your first weeks? Like the first weeks of having a baby? Is it a paid vacation? Like, is that a paid vacation?
I'm the father of children, and I wished I would have had.
Well, yeah, parental leave. It goes.
I had to work.
One.
I had to work still, and I worked at U of M during that time.
Oh yeah.
I didn't have it.
You had to go. I mean, this paid leave could go to either mothers or fathers.
Well, this is what I'm saying, but let me be the devil's advocate on this.
Oh gosh.
God.
And I'll be quick.
Yeah.
In the world that we're looking at how they want it to be run today, women wouldn't be working.
You've touched on something. So
They'd
maybe
stay-
that's
they'd
the point.
stay- they'd stay at home.
Maybe that's what they want. Maybe they want to keep
I
women
just-
barefoot and pregnant
I want-
in the kitchen. Is
well-
that what this is about, Bob?
Well, and I'm not even saying that's what they want, but this is the climate. This is what they're saying. I mean, we could see this.
It's
with
unpopular,
everything.
and it's not what people want. And we know
Well,
the polling
then-
tells us that.
Okay, then the people have to vote.
People
Then
have
the
to
people
vote.
have to
We
vote.
need somebody to run against Bob Bazat when his seat comes up, and I hope we find somebody.
And it's not even that.
It is an
Vote.
insult.
Just vote in general.
Well, vote for the right candidates. Don't just vote for the sake of voting, please. Don't do that, because you're going to give me a coronary. But
No, vote for whoever you want to. At least then you're getting engaged in the political process.
yeah, true. But do not call paid family leave.
Yeah, that's
paid
not
vacation.
vacation.
That is an insult, Bob Bazat. Shame on you, Bob.
Also, even
Gotta
if
get
it
that
was,
off
it
my
wouldn't be a bad
chest.
thing.
What?
Even if it was a paid vacation, I don't think that would be a bad thing.
Oh, to have a vacation. Well, it's not what the policy is, though. It's to take care of your family.
Right,
And let me tell you, I took a lot of personal time to take care of my mother, who did chemo for 2 years. Okay,
Right.
I had FMLA, but FMLA only gives you a certain amount of paid.
And
You have to
after
use
that,
up,
it's
and
done.
that's it.
Yeah.
But so I took a lot of unpaid time to take care of my mother, and I don't regret any of that.
Right.
And I was in a position where I was able to do it because I was living at home. I was living with them while I was doing it, and my expenses were low.
Right.
But it is not a vacation by any means what caregivers go through to take care of their families. Is sometimes and these families deserve respect. And Bob Bazat, I hope you reach a point where you will give these family members the respect that they deserve and refer to this policy in terms that accurately reflect what it's about. That's off my chest.
So that's that it?
Woo! Okay.
Oh, it's time for goodbye.
You hold the pillow. It's like you hold the conch in Lord of the Flies. You hold the pillows. So, all right. So we're wrapping up our show. Right now we have a segment. We did it last week. We're going to do it every week where we have this segment we call Good Vibes. We want you to submit your content, but we didn't have any submissions for today because of some last minute changes to the show. But Jace is going to do our Good Vibes today because there was something I really wanted to talk to him about that just gave me such good feels when I found out about it. So he's going to do our Good Vibes today. But if you have Good Vibes content to submit, send it up to that email address again. Give us your name, your first name, your pronouns, where you're from, like what city or township, a brief little email explaining what it is you're sending us. We'll take kid pics, we'll take dog pics, cat pics, hamster pics.
Oh yeah, anything fun
Anything
and
fun.
informative to give us to share with those
Or
out there.
adorable. I would love any adorable. I love any and all animal pics. So, except spiders. Do not send me a picture of a spider.
I mean, you can send it to me.
Send it to Ella. Unless it's that cute little spider with there's one cute
Jumping
spider.
spiders.
The jumping spider.
Yeah.
I will take a jumping spider pic, but none other.
Right.
So anyway, all right, Jay. So I'm going to give you the floor. Talk to us about what your Good Vibes moment was for you.
Oh my gosh. Something came up that I just found out about, and I have to share that too.
Tell us.
Oh.
Well, y'all know I'm a school bus driver.
Yes.
And I love the kids. I love all of them. I drive, kindergarten through 12th grade. But mostly my little ones. My little ones are so funny. They, of course, little kids just say whatever.
Yeah.
Well, the picture that's up on the screen now.
Oh,
Yes.
it is. Let's see it. My kid drew this for you?
Yes, a second grade student of mine that I drive. She came on the bus, and she's like, Mr. Jace, we were in art class today. And she says, I drew this for you.
Aww.
And I looked at it, I says, for me, really? And she said, yes, Mr. Jace, yes, Mr. Jace. And I said, well, I'm putting it right here, and I have like little clips, on Velcro, and I stuck the clip, and I stuck it in the clip so that, I had it hanging down so that it's on my bus, because I feel it's important. She took the time to draw that for me. I feel it's the right thing to do to show her how much I appreciate it. And
that's
keep
gratitude.
Yeah.
And it probably made you feel so good.
Oh, it did.
I would have been crying.
Well, the first day of school, sometimes the kids don't find out who's driving.
Yeah.
Until later. Well, first day of school comes, and I don't know if you guys could see this, but the girl got on the bus. Now, I've been driving this same route this is my third year.
Okay.
Girl comes on the bus, and she makes these bracelets.
Aww.
I don't know if
I feel like there's every girl went to school with the girl who makes bracelets.
She comes on the bus and she says, I'm so glad you're my bus driver, Mr. Jace. And I found out, because it was a subdivision, so when they found out,
oh, Ella's gonna show it.
She brought that on the first day.
Yeah. Bring it in focus. Yep. Oh, other way. There you go.
There you go. Bring it in a little bit. The other way. The first day, she brought that on and said, I made this for you. Aww. And I said, well, then guess what? I'm wearing it.
What a sweetheart.
And then the one that I wanted to share, which this made me cry. I have a family that I drive. And thank you, Ella. First day of school, the kids write, like, what are they most happy about on their first day? Mm-hmm. And the mom shared it with me. And this boy wrote, I'll cry.
We got the Kleenex.
I know.
Bring it out.
He said, what made me happy on my first day is I got to see Mr. Jace. People don't understand how that makes someone feel, especially a bus driver, because I'm not always, I've got to be tough.
Yeah.
So I do give them some toughness, but I give them love. And that was important. And I had to share that because I just found out, and I was like,
yeah, it hit you right in the feels.
Oh, the feels, man, the feels. Yeah, and I just want them to know, if you guys watch this, I love you guys. I love all of the kids, and I love all the families that I drive for.
And y'all hit the jackpot with bus drivers, okay? Like, if you're on Jace's route, kids, you hit the jackpot.
Yes.
So...
Well, I love it.
Thank you, Jace.
No, thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Well, everyone, it's been another great episode. We covered a lot. But we do, like we said, real talk here. We are all about real talk, and we're going to give it to you in different ways.
Right.
Jace is going to bring you something from an educational aspect. Ella's more technical-minded, so she's going to be looking at policies and breaking down the nuts and bolts of what it says. And me, I'm just going to, sometimes I'm just going to...
Let it fly.
That's my vibe. So anyway, great episode, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning into The Stir. Tune in again next month. We'll have more information about when our next episode is coming on. Follow us on TikTok at The Stir Pod. Follow us on Facebook. We gotta get our socials up here for the next episode.
Everywhere.
We'll have that for you. Or
if you want to know where we're at, send it to the email.
Yeah. And then also there's going. Oh, there you go. And we will also be doing this on audio as well, just so you know. So we have a Transistor FM contract with them, and so you'll be able to listen to The Stir in the car on your way to work. We'll have all that information on our website, and we'll get that out to you. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a great week.
Peace
out. Peace out.